All right. This is slope formula notes. Um, so this is for pre-algebra as normal introduction, but this is a review for algebra. From algebra class only, label this 3.5b. Pre-algebra, don't write that. The formula for slope is m equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, where we have these varying points. Now, predominantly in math, you'll actually see it like this. You'll see this written as m equal to, instead of starting with ones here, we'll start with twos. And it actually doesn't matter. They're exactly the same formula. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I don't know. For me, I just like starting with ones instead. So just here, just keep in mind, we always have y's on top, x's on the bottom. We start with our ones, and then we subtract, and then our twos after that. Anyways, so what does this mean here? X1 minus y1. This means that it's our first point of x and y. Okay, you get to choose which one is your first, but just be careful how you label it. And then x2 minus x2 comma y2 is the second x and y, or the second point. Okay, so it doesn't matter there. Now, we are familiar with finding the slope of a line on a graph. We're going to be referring to that and also connecting that to the formula. Okay, so first of all here, what is or why is this the formula? Okay, let's find the slope how we normally do. We're going to move this to the right, or sorry, to the left. This will be left 2, and then we're going to have to go up. It's positive. This will be a positive 3. Okay, so the slope here is m equal to, rise over run, 3 over negative 2. This is the same thing as just if the negative were in front. We'll talk about that soon. But a negative 3/2. Okay, so off to the right, we have the slope changing y over changing x. We also already have the slope given to us. It's negative 3/2. But how do we determine this? So the first question, using the numbers from the ordered pairs, what did you do to find the change in y? We found that the rise was 3. So what do you think? What do you think we do to 7 and 4 to get 3? Right? We subtract. It's 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. Right? As we can see, that's right here. And then for the second question, using the numbers from the ordered pairs, what do you do to find the change in x? So if we look at our x values, 4 and 6, how do you think we got negative 2? Okay, is we took that 4 and we subtract with the 6. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay, so a key thing here is that we are subtracting x and y values. Okay, right, so whenever we see a minus sign, in between, it's always, it's a subtraction, not a negative sign. Anyways, but let's go into a review of fractions here. All of the following are equal to negative 3/5. Okay, where the negative's in front. This is the same as if the negative were on the top of the fraction. These two things are equal. They mean this exact same thing. Or if the negative were on the denominator of the fraction. So negative 3 over positive 5 or positive 3 over negative 5. We know that all these will simplify to be a negative. But the one thing that it's not equal to, I'm going to put this in red. If you have a negative in front of a fraction, it does not mean that both the numerator and denominator are negative, right? Because what's a negative divided by a negative, right? A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And positive 3/5 is not the same thing as negative 3/5. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. If we have a negative sign, normally either the numerator or denominator is a negative. Okay. All right, let's go to example 1. Find the slope of the line through the following. We're going to graph this first to prove it. Or actually, we'll do this second. But we have 2 points, 2, 4, and 7, 6. Okay, we're starting with positive values to start off easy here. But before we start with our formula, let's label these. This one is x1, y1. It's our first x and y. And this is x2, y2, our second x and y. Okay, and let's plug in wherever we know, where we find those values. We're going to start with y1 minus y2. Right, y1 is 4. So I'll put that here. So we did this. Now we do y2. y2 is 6. So I'll put that here. Now it's x1 minus x2. x1 is 2, and x2 is 7. All right, let's go ahead and simplify this. I'll put this in black. 4 minus 6, we actually just did this. This is negative 2. When they have different signs, subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. 2 minus 7 is a negative 5. Okay, we can't simplify this. We can't simplify the numbers because there's no common factors of 2 and 5. But the signs we can simplify. What's a negative divided by negative? It's a positive 2/5. Okay. So positive 2/5. This is positive, so we know Mr. Slope's face. I'll draw this real quick. You don't have to draw this part. A positive slope, the line is going to look something like this. Okay, if it doesn't look like this, then we've done something wrong. But let's graph both points here. 2, 4. 2, 4 is 2 right, 4 up. That's right here. 7, 6. 7, 6 is 7 right, 6 up. Okay, we're going to draw a straight line connecting those 2 points. And I'll try to do my best here. Okay. All right, and then if we find the slope of the line, I'll find the rise and run. All right, so I'm going to go up and then to the right. Does this match what we got for the slope? We go up 2 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would give us 2/5 here. Even if we went the other direction or even started at a different point, there's a bunch of ways you can do this, but I'll go this way. If we go down, that's negative 2, and go to the left, that's a negative 5. Negative 5, negative 2 over negative 5, we actually did that. That was over here, which then simplified to be this. Okay. All right, anyways, so that's proving why we can use the formula. On the back side, we're going to use the formula, but not a graph. So let's turn this over. Example 2, find the slope. Okay. So first, let's set some things up. We're going to write the formula. I'll put y1 minus y2, or you could start with y2 minus y1. As long as you start with, when you subtract with the x's, you start with the same thing, either x1 or x2. X1 if you started with y1, x2 if you started with y2. Okay, but I'm going to start with my 1s here. All right, but let's label this x1, y1, x2, y2. This is going to be slightly more complex because now we have minus signs here. Okay, I'll set up my skeleton, just my formula, and now let's plug in some numbers. Y1, right, y1 right here, that is negative 2. Y minus y2, y2 is a negative 8. And that's why I write the minus sign before I start here, because this is a minus negative 8. I could put this in parentheses since we have consecutive signs. X2 is 4, and x1 is 4. Oh, sorry, the formula is written down wrong. This is supposed to be x2. Okay, x2 is 1. Okay, this will become a negative times a negative is a positive. I just kind of carve a plus sign here. And this is negative 2 plus 8, which is 6. On the bottom, 4 minus 1 is 3. And we can't subtract this. They have a common factor of 3. But 6 divided by 3 is just 2. Okay, I'm going to leave this one as you do. I did put a quote here. Have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy. Just something that I Googled. For this, right, I think there's a lot of steps, but there are a lot of easy steps. Just make sure that we're careful with all these steps. All right.